We often find ourselves dwelling on past regrets and worrying about the future. The painful memories of past failures and unwanted events can feel overwhelming, leaving us unsure how to cope. As a result, we waste a significant amount of our lifetime on these negative thoughts. However, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism provides a powerful antidote to this cycle of regret and anxiety. The Stoics understood that even though we cannot control every circumstance, we can control how we respond. By cultivating acceptance of what is within our power to change and what is not, we can avoid suffering from clinging to the past or fearing the future. This teaching is encapsulated in the wisdom of Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus. They remind us that obsessing over past pains or potential future sufferings robs us of the present moment, the only reality we truly possess. To avoid regret, focus on embracing the present moment. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. Seneca. Regret is like a thief that steals our ability to live in the present moment fully. When we spend too much time thinking about past mistakes and losses, we are essentially forgetting the past. Not the actual events, but the chance to learn from them and move forward with that wisdom. We can't change the past, but by dwelling on it, we keep ourselves from fully experiencing the richness of the present moment. Similarly, when we dwell on past decisions and feel regret, we tend to imagine that the future will be filled with more mistakes and chaos. We end up fearing the future, not for what it truly is, but for what we think it will be, based on our regrets. Instead of seeing the future as an opportunity to make things right, we carry over our anxiety from the past, which only prolongs our suffering without any real purpose. And in doing so, we are left utterly neglecting the present, the very moment that contains the opportunity to make new choices, shift to healthier patterns, and release the shackles of past regrets. We miss the precious truth in front of us when we're psychologically bound to former events that the eternal flow of life has already transcended. An old Buddhist parable illustrates this well. Two monks were making a long journey together. Eventually, they came upon a deep river, and a young lady worried about how she would get across it. The older monk silently picked her up and carried her to the other side, allowing them to proceed. Many hours later, the younger monk finally spoke up, admitting he was very disturbed that the older monk had touched the woman, as it went against their Buddhist ethics. The older monk replied, "I put the woman down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" Like the younger monk, we often carry regretful burdens in our minds long after moving on from the event that caused them. This unnecessary clinging leads to the anxious and withered existence that Seneca describes. Our lives feel oppressively short, not because of how many years we live, but because we spend our time pursuing fruitless paths of obsessive hindsight and catastrophic foresight, instead of fully living in the present moment. The present moment is the only point that is eternal, paradoxically. The past is gone, and the future is a grand becoming, yet all we truly ever have is now. Neglecting this truth in favor of mentally rehashing old disappointments and dreading future repeats of them is squandering the vitality and fresh possibility that this moment always offers. Consider this scenario. Picture someone constantly weighed down by regret over a past relationship or marriage that didn't work out. They dwell on what they could have done differently and are tormented by thoughts of what might have been. Meanwhile, they have the chance to start a new relationship with someone wonderful, but they are unable to fully embrace this opportunity because their past grief and self-judgment still haunt them. As a result, they miss out on the possibility of forming new, happy connections because they are stuck in the past. It's essential to let go of the lingering pain from past experiences and fully embrace the present and future, or consider the professional who made a terrible mistake early in their career that led to consequences like firing or demotion. Of course, they feel deep regret throughout the events. But suppose they remain endlessly absorbed in remorse and shame. In that case, they will be blinded to the insight their transgression offered and their ability to apply that learning toward achieving true mastery in their work and becoming an upstanding success. The path forward remains covered if we overindulge in rear-view mirror reflections that provide no new perspectives. The Stoics understood that while we cannot control what has happened or alter events already etched into the past, we command sovereignty over how we choose to meet the new moment we have entered. Will we contaminate it by carrying excess baggage from before? Or will we arrive fully present and ready to engage wisely with a fresh mind? In any scenario where regret threatens to consume us, we must pause and firmly reorient ourselves to this present reality alone. The past can be a teacher, but never a resident to which we endlessly return. With mindful presence, we accept what has occurred, discern any worthy lessons, and immediately turn our attention to the living truth and what virtuous thoughts or actions it now makes possible. Seneca suggests that we can avoid feeling hollow and anxious by staying connected to the past, present, and future. We should remember the past by understanding its significance without getting stuck in its specific details. To prepare for the future, we should strengthen our judgment to make wise decisions in the present instead of being consumed by worries and regrets from the past. By fully engaging with the present, we can avoid neglecting either the past or the future, as the present is the only moment that truly matters. Does this mean never reflecting on our regrets or learning from our mistakes? Of course not. We should regularly take time to evaluate our lives, celebrate our successes, acknowledge our failures, and use the lessons we've learned to grow and become wiser. The Stoics oppose the constant, uncontrolled cycle of guilt, anger, and fear that can prevent us from being present and finding peace. Imagine being out for an evening stroll and coming across someone sitting on a park bench, clearly ruminating hard on something weighing heavily. You inquire about their sorrows, and they reveal deep regrets over a failed business venture years ago that left them in financial ruin. As the sun sets, you may acknowledge the gravity of those challenges, but then ask, what does obsessively returning to that particular past instance do to improve your life right now in this present moment? Will stewing on that regret produce any new ideas or paths forward? Or is it simply reopening an old wound that has already been cauterized by the progression of time and events? The Stoic walking beside you seeks not to invalidate or minimize their friend's regretful emotions, but to shed light on the truth that beyond reasonable self-reflection, compulsively carrying those burdens only serves to neglect the present's powerful opportunity to start fresh and build anew. The pain happened and is understandable to feel, but to relive it endlessly denies the profound gift of being here, now, with another chance to do things better aligned with our values and ideals. In life, it's natural to feel regret or dwell on the past when we experience loss or make mistakes. The important thing is to recognize when these feelings start to take over and to learn how to shift our focus back to the present. Even when it's hard, we can find new opportunities in the present, even if we have to look through the lens of past mistakes. Just like a sailor adjusting course in changing weather, we can make intelligent decisions to navigate challenges while embracing the opportunities of the present moment. So when the discomforts of regret arise, pause, breathe, reflect with care on any worthy lessons, and then decisively return your full attention to engaging with the realities in front of you, right here and now. That is where your future pathway toward growth and even the transcendence of old pains will be found, not in the rearview mirror where only the past's shadows remain, but on the rising horizons illuminated by your awake presence. There, as Seneca reminds us, our lives will feel most vibrantly rich instead of short and anxious. A whole life awaits those who resist reliving what was and drink deeply from the timeless stream of present moment awareness. Break free from the shackles of past and future suffering. Two elements must therefore be rooted out once and for all: the fear of future suffering and the recollection of past suffering, since the latter no longer concerns me and the former concerns me not yet. Seneca. Regret is a formidable foe, waging war on our inner peace, from two fronts. The past we cannot change, and the future we cannot control. It ties us to past pain and fills us with fear about the future being shaped by the same struggles. But Seneca provides a way to break free from these chains by taking away the power we give to remembering and expecting suffering. The recollection of past suffering serves no practical purpose other than to reopen sealed wounds and drain our present vitality. Whatever happened to trigger that suffering has already passed into history and cannot be changed. The only reflection we should have on such events is to learn from them and guide our present actions, then promptly return our minds to the present moment, free from the burden of traumas that no longer exist outside our perceptions. A person who regrets the end of a past relationship gains nothing by constantly replaying its demise. The relationship is over, and both parties have moved on. Continually dwelling on how it fell apart only creates unnecessary emotional pain. The event is in the past, and we should avoid obsessing over it. Instead, we should focus on healing and directing our energy towards life's new opportunities. Similarly, the fear of future suffering involves creating scenarios of potential horror that may never become reality. When we hold on to past painful memories and project them onto the future, we end up dreading potential intimacy and expecting repeated heartbreaks. We may also start believing that all future pursuits are doomed to fail. In both cases, we build complex narratives of suffering in our minds that only become real when we start treating them as unavoidable. A person who is afraid of experiencing the pain of failure they have felt in the past avoids fully participating in life from the beginning, thus ensuring the suffering they feared through non-participation and playing it too safe. Their elaborate fantasies of disasters become self-fulfilling prophecies, not because of any inherent future realities, but because of their embrace of speculative anguish. When we indulge in obsessing over memories of pain while simultaneously panicking about those pains being repeated endlessly, we slip into what Stoics called the double bind, neither being fully present and prepared for the new circumstances before us, nor mentally unencumbered to make our best choices clear-mindedly. Our anxieties imprison us between twin cells of past and future torment, while the closest we ever get to peace is in dismissing both as mirages, distracting us from the true here and now, through which our freedom lies. To free ourselves from this situation, Seneca suggests a radical approach. We should stop dwelling on past pains and refuse to give any importance to potential future pains. In other words, we need to develop selective amnesia about anything that might hold us back in regret or cause us to worry about what could happen. By adopting the attitude of the past doesn't concern me yet, and the future no longer concerns me, we can detach ourselves from both the past and the future, thus breaking the cycle of suffering. This does not mean denying that complex events happened or could happen. The Stoics were not naive about life's potential challenges. It means acknowledging their impact only at the precise moments they occurred or would eventually happen, while safeguarding our present autonomy from being dominated by memories of past pains or dwelling excessively on feared futures. Pain has an opportunity to enter and leave our core, but it can only establish permanent residence if we continually renew its lease. A prime example is the grieving process after losing a loved one. In the beginning, the stabbing anguish of that absence is completely present and inevitable. The loss is raw, new, and all-consuming. In those times, we cannot avoid that past suffering replaying itself vividly. No spiritual practice can immediately override those intense human emotions of grief. However, as time passes and we adjust to our newly shaped reality, there comes a point where continuing to linger obsessively on every regretful memory serves no further purpose. We must put that pain's pictures into their proper frame of remembrance, but not drag them into this present moment and insist on reliving them wholly and vividly as we did when it was fresh. To the contrary, doing so is to ignore Seneca's wisdom. We defy the truth that the latter no longer concerns me, and instead keep that part of our consciousness continually tangled in an ending that has already ceased being part of our immediate story. In grieving, we consistently look ahead with worry as well, wondering how we'll navigate this new existence without our loved one's light warming it. We conjure up endless fear scenarios. How will I make it through future events without them by my side? What if their absence is so devastating it destroys my will to go on living joyfully and purposefully? In doing so, Seneca notes, we forget the former concerns me not yet. The imagined future scenarios we worry about may never happen as we expect. Even if some version of them does occur, worrying about them in advance only drains us of the energy we need to be fully present as we move forward step by step. Whether in regret or excessive worry, these twin tendencies remain our greatest lurking psychological saboteurs, threatening to swallow us in recursive self-torture. When we get trapped in their clutches, we lose access to the true wealth and vitality of living open-eyed in the moment. Seneca's antidote is to muster the willpower of radical presence, resisting the impulse to turn past and future into bottomless fonts of rumination and anxiety. We must confine our challenges to their proper moments and embrace the profound liberty that presence brings in, insulating us from regret's haunted refrain or panic's obsessive dress rehearsals of doomsdays. Does this mean ignoring all past lessons and never considering future contingencies? Of course not. The Stoics were immensely proactive and prepared people. It means relocating those considerations to their proper domains, instead of allowing them to contaminate our experience of this inviolable present moment with unnecessary burdens. The pain happened. Make peace with it. The obstacles ahead may or may not arrive as imagined. Be prudent, but not pained by the fantasizing. Then breathe fully into what surrounds you right here, right now. This judicious presence is the key to living authentically without regret devouring us from both sides. Like a masterful commander on the battlefield, we take stock of prior tactical missteps to sharpen our understanding while planning contingencies based on potential new attacks. But we do not get caught licking old wounds while cowering at hypothetical future wounds. Instead, we keep our minds keenly attuned to the ever-evolving terrain, reinforcing our troops, leading the charge, and making decisive movements to ensure victory. The past becomes but a memory to strengthen us, the future an eventuality left to unfold, as it will through our right actions now. Yes, suffering is inevitable in life to some degree. We will all make mistakes, know losses, and inevitably vacate this earthly plane. But Seneca reminds us that no matter what trials befell us previously, or what imagined trials lie ahead, the present is always a blank slate for transcending regret and fear. The now is sacred ground, stretching endlessly upon which we can build anew and make wiser choices if we let go of past pains and future panics that would otherwise sabotage this profound opportunity. It is the height of wisdom to approach life with equanimity, drawing upon knowledge from previous experiences without re-suffering them, while preparing with prudence for eventualities we cannot control, without becoming hostage to dreading them. Herein lies our ultimate freedom, being everywhere present and therefore fully armed to craft our most masterful existence, freed from regret's twin prisons of reliving what was and pre-living what may never come to pass. You possess only the eternal present. Then remind yourself that past and future have no power over you, only the present, and even that can be minimized. Marcus Aurelius. While Seneca instructs us to root out obsession with former and potential future sufferings, Marcus Aurelius builds on this by bluntly reminding us that the past and future are metaphysical phantoms that we falsely allow to haunt our hearts and minds. They have no tangible reality or power over you. We empower them by fixating on times that, quite literally, do not exist. The past is an abstraction, a dream that has dissipated no matter how vividly we attempt to resurrect it through memories, regrets, or emotional reliving. And the future is an even more tenuous fantasy, a becoming that is forever unmade until the very instant it emerges as the present moment. To borrow anguish or anxiety from these ghostly non-realities is akin to suffering over figments of our imagination. Aurelius emphasizes even more strongly that we should not be disturbed by things that do not actually exist. The past is over, and the future has not yet occurred. Furthermore, we can minimize the impact of our present experiences. This powerful suggestion captures the core teaching of the Stoics. Although we cannot control every circumstance in our lives, we do have control over how much significance we allow each occurrence to have. We all know people who seem intensely thrown by even the most minor matters. A stubbed toe launches them into dramatic tantrums, or a brief rain shower ruins their entire day's contentment. Meanwhile, we've witnessed others who endure even severe challenges, like grave illnesses or the loss of loved ones, with supreme grace and poise. The situations were not necessarily different, but people's responses and adopted viewpoints dictated their radically divergent impacts. One person allowed the present to loom as largely as past regrets or future catastrophic thinking. The other minimized its control over their emotional equilibrium. Once again, this is not about denying genuine pain or being indifferent when major life changes require us to be moved in human ways. It's about consistently allowing small things to occupy a large space in our minds, to the extent that our experience of the present becomes exaggerated into overwhelming concerns, disrupting our clarity and balance. When we follow Aurelius's advice to reduce our reactivity to the flow of thoughts, feelings, and impulses that carry us through each new moment, we enhance our ability to face life's blessings and challenges with true composure. So, we are charged with a threefold practice. 1. Not lending legitimacy to wallowing in the non-reality of the past. 2. Not infusing the non-reality of the future with our fearful fiction. 3. Meeting the grand truth of the present as lightly and purposefully as possible. This ultimate vigilance over what we allow to linger in our headspace liberates us to embrace each brilliant moment as it blooms openly, without yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's dreads crowding out our felt experience of its revelations. With steady practice, we learn to rest more lively on the ocean of this moment, without mentally reconstructing former shores we've departed, or trying to control waves yet to arrive. We let the past and future be, while rooting ourselves fully in the only territory that is ours to experience with minimal baggage or fantasies distracting us. From that centered place of presence, we remain more straightforward channels for responding to the summons and gifts each new now provides. Finding gratitude, not grievances. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. A powerful complement to Seneca and Aurelius' teachings on transcending past-future obsessions is Epictetus's guidance on curtailing our grievances over what we lack while actively cultivating gratitude for what we've been graced with in this life. At its core, the bent for regret and thought originates from becoming fixated on lacks, omissions, failures, or disappointments at the expense of appreciating the abundant blessings surrounding us each day. When we catch ourselves dwelling on regrets about things we missed out on or haven't achieved yet, it puts us in a mindset of scarcity and emotional lack. It's natural to feel some sadness and longing for unmet needs or desires, but allowing them to turn into total grievances traps us in a cycle of feeling constantly deprived, crippled, or victimized by reality for not giving us what we feel entitled to have. Epictetus describes the sage as avoiding unnecessary distress by changing how he views his desires and expectations. Instead of automatically feeling sad about things he hasn't obtained or experienced, he focuses on being thankful for what he already has. This slight shift in perspective completely changes the leading tone of our lives from lack and anxiety to gratitude and satisfaction. A clear example is when a friend expresses deep regret about not having children and feels it may soon be too late. It's important to acknowledge the pain of this unfulfilled desire with compassion. However, the friend might then start to dwell on all the things they feel they're missing out on, like not experiencing their child's important moments, being unable to share family knowledge, and giving up on the dream of having a big extended family. While caught up in these feelings of loss, they might overlook the meaningful joys, connections, and opportunities for personal growth that their current life already offers. The sage on the same path meets their friend's admission with empathy and an insightful redirection. I understand your pain over wanting children and not having them. That is a noble and understandable human desire. However, I humbly invite you to consider the remarkable treasures you possess that others may be grieving over. You have autonomous freedom over your time and energies, the chance to nurture other creative pursuits, to deepen bonds with friends who are families of your choosing, and to serve as an auntie or nurturing mentor to younger people seeking wisdom guides. Focusing too insularly on the absence of one profound but unrealized dream could cause you to be blinded to the countless other dreams blooming all around you at this very moment. The sage does not diminish the legitimacy of grief itself. They acknowledge that sadness over loss is a natural human experience that they too have endured and will again. But they refuse to allow that sadness to take over and disqualify all the other aspects of the present situation that are still fulfilling. They focus on seeking and amplifying what is working so they can be grateful for the present rather than endlessly ruminating on what has escaped them. Maintaining this perspective means keeping one's vitality and sense of involvement in life's fullness, despite the ups and downs everyone experiences. Let's learn to raise awareness to see the bigger picture of what we've been given. In that case, we can avoid the cycle of always wanting more, regretting wastefully, and believing that real life is only happening somewhere out of reach. Fortunately, the present moment never needs to be a place of lack. It always contains everything required to grow if we change our perspective to appreciate it properly. The sage always remembers their enoughness instead of focusing on deficiency because they emphasize the good within the whole rather than the inevitable shortcomings. Suppose sadness over unrealized dreams or mistakes arises. In that case, as it must, they observe it with spacious awareness before redirecting their focus to the abundance already present in their existence that they can celebrate. From this stance, regret cannot calcify within us because we do not let it colonize every last corner of our hearts. It arises, as all emotions do, and runs its natural course, and then our chosen allegiance remains, actively celebrating each positive aspect of our current experience. By holding gratitude as our anchor, the pains and disappointments of yesterday release their grip more freely, making way for our wholehearted savoring of the richness available right now. We move through life not fixated on its deficits, but relishing the bounties of connections, lessons, opportunities, and simple joys that surround us at every turn when we have eyes to perceive them. This fortifying cycle of appreciation preserves our motivation, resilience, and sense of life's abundance, making regrets appear as passing clouds appreciated for their textures before dissipating into the open sky of the eternal present. The eternal gift of the present. Give yourself a gift, the present moment. Marcus Aurelius. Lastly, in the midst of our inclination to dwell on past regrets and worry about the future, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the present moment is a profound and renewable gift that we can fully embrace at any time. No matter how stuck we feel in past regrets or future anxieties, the present moment is always a fresh start. This allows us to refocus our awareness on the reality of the present, rather than on imagined scenarios. To give yourself the present moment is to reclaim your sovereign agency over where you place your attention and which aspects of the vast happening you allow to take precedence in your inner experience. It is to consciously divest from compulsive looping thoughts about what was or may be, and realign your mind with what is here and now in all its richness and possibility. The miracle of the present is that it always remains available, no matter how far afield our awareness may have strayed into regrets or catastrophic imaginations. It patiently awaits our return like a faithful admirer, ready to embrace us anew the moment we turn our gaze and hearts toward its argent offerings. To access this gift requires no grand striving, esoteric wisdom, or strenuous effort, only a subtle pivot of perception, a gentling reorientation to the simple truth of this eternal moment we perpetually inhabit, but often forget actually to live within. When we find ourselves trapped in the strongholds of past pain and future fears, constantly reliving old battles or preparing for future hypothetical wars, we start to resemble the typical image of a soldier who has been so battered and traumatized that the skills for ordinary, peaceful living escape him. Even though the actual conflict is long gone, he remains on guard against enemies that no longer exist, fearing that any return to civilian life will only bring back the previous dangers. Peace itself becomes the frightening unknown that his combat-locked mind cannot handle. Regret and anxiety act as similar psychological trip mines scattered across the fields of our awareness. They continually separate us from the natural ground of presence whenever we brush up too closely, threatening to undermine our safe return to this moment with their insistent fear-coding and self-persecuting inner voices. Having been subjected to many painful landmines from the past or panic attacks about the future's horizon, our consciousness becomes institutionalized to the war zone of chronically departing the present as a protective mechanism. As long as we continue to defend ourselves by preparing for past or future challenges, we prevent ourselves from accessing our most important source of strength and nourishment, the gift of the present moment. This present moment is always available to us, and it remains our unbreakable sanctuary, no matter how strongly we may feel tempted to neglect it. When the grips of regret or anxiety constrict our hearts and minds, we must have the courage and wisdom to consistently repatriate ourselves to this present peace by simply reperceiving this moment with untarnished eyes, not by arduous processing of every old grief or mounting worry, but by the sheer dropping of those burdens through the surprising ease of no longer lending them any power over our attention. The present is always here, waiting to embrace us whenever we end our self-inflicted exiles from it. Much like the wizened elder in villager stories who hermits away in a cave only to re-emerge, bestowing sage wisdom earned through years in stillness, the present moment contains the keys to unlocking our most fearless and unobstructed selves when we allow its marvels to infuse us anew. It fruitlessly remains this endless reserve of vibrancy, clarity and joy, no matter how stubbornly we may have shut it out through the habituated panics and self-accusations, which maintain our disconnection from its revitalizing stream. To give yourself this gift requires not transcendental practices reserved only for adepts and sages. It simply asks that you stop creating imaginary selves and realms through relentless thought. Return to your senses and embrace the present moment. Stop surrendering the present for memories or fantasies that cannot nourish being fully present. In the present moment, all your wounds finally receive their sacred healing, not through the effort to reform them, but by ceasing to cover yourself in their imaginary stories. When you truly embrace the present moment as the most valuable gift, you allow it to break through all barriers and complications to revive your true essence, the part of your spirit unaffected by past baggage or worries about the future. It doesn't have to be seen as an incredibly difficult achievement, just a repeated adjustment to the simple truth that the present moment always supports you, and only your mistaken beliefs could make you think otherwise. Approached with this profound ease and receptivity, the present ceaselessly regenerates us, not through manipulated positivity monologues or zealous avoidance of our humanity's darker frequencies. It does so naturally when we develop the wisdom to meet it without immediately departing its open clearing of grace for the confining dungeons of past-future fixations. All the density we've allowed to encrust around our hearts and minds melts back into the pure flow of this moment whenever we stop treating it as something to escape. In this light embrace of the present, we see clearly how our previous miseries with excessive regret or anxiety were ultimately self-binding choices to forego our greatest birthright, conscious participation in the stunning choreographies forever unfolding within and around us here, now. Whereas all our self-mortification stemmed from falling backwards or slanting forward across planes of existence that were mere echoes, this moment is the one abiding truth of being that we can meet with unwavering poise and celebration. Our umbilicus is the source from which our highest selves derive meaning, purpose, and joy. So give yourself this gift with ferocious generosity, repeatedly in every new instant. Put down the ghostly baggage that would compel you to disown the luminous newborn revelation of this passing present for repeated graspings at what was or what may come to be. Lay down your arms, let the battle smoke clear, and surrender gratefully into the endless homecoming ushered in by each undefended now. When you hold it all that loosely, this eternal moment reveals itself as the only real present you ever receive, and everything you were missing to appreciate it fully.